We're out in Bearspaw again, and this is southern Alberta. So, again, we have the most unbelievable weather. Good morning, everybody. It's Scott. We're out in Bearspaw, the Build 2. We're here. They're putting our screw piles in, Chester's framing. We've got some trusses up, and they're going to put some more in after these guys are done. The last video, we already spoke about framing and how we do it differently, as well as the screw pile guys. So if you'd like to check out the video, we'll put the link above. And it's about the last video we did. So please like and subscribe if you get a chance. So let's go on to some of the stuff here. This on the trailer here, this is called flighting, and this is what they use for screw piles. So basically these screw into the ground, and that's what supports the deck. So it's engineered based on what you're carrying. So this one has got a roof that it's going to carry as well as a deck. So come on over here and we'll see what they're doing. Oh, by the way, if you're looking at my hair right now, it could be frozen, but it's not, it's gel. We're having a cold morning here and we've had the greatest weather. So come on. So you can see where they're digging right now is right beside that foundation. And at the bottom is, on those flightings, is basically the piece that screws into the ground. Now they may end up hitting the footing there, and they may have to move it out a little bit because they've got to be close for that final one. So come on over here, we'll stay out of their way a bit. Okay, so as he's, well, it looks like he's pulling back up, so who knows what he's got going on there, but he's already got 3 in, and then on top of that, they've got an adjustment piece so that they can get the heights all perfect as well. So the guys are in the garage. They're trimming up all the walls. They'll be standing those soon, and you can see Steve over there, he's running a router. So a lot of guys use those now. We used to just saw cut them, but that's just to trim the edges off really good. So there's the first set of trusses they've got going. They're up top there. And as I said in the last video, the trusses don't always land the same. They're 2 foot on center anyways. And like we've got 19.2 inch on center inside 2x4s for our inside walls, and our joists are 19.2. So that's a bit of a difference, and you can't get around that. And I don't want to put my walls 2 foot on center. So, but they just got started. As soon as these guys are done, they've got to go around to the back. They'll get all the screw piles in for the back decks and this front deck. Okay, so screw piles. We have used sonotubes forever, and sonotube is just it's kind of a cardboard, waxy, round tube. I've showed you before in some of the other videos. And we have to put a footing down, poured footing. We put the sonotube, we put steel rebar in there. Then we pour concrete, and then the deck posts or the garage will sit on top of that, the garage slab, to hold it up, keep it from settling. For the decks, it's just as your support. It's the foundation. So for years, I was not going to these because when they first came out, I thought they were just way too expensive. There's been quite a change in that now because it's become far more popular. So these guys came, they measured this out. They haven't been here an hour. They've got these 4 in already. And before, I would have had 4 sonotubes here as opposed to these. So I have to pour concrete, and sometimes they don't match where the post is going to go. So only part of the post would be sitting on the sonotube. So this is a big change for me, and a big change for the industry. So it's all engineered. They put it down a specific depth based on the ground conditions, and they put the size of the flighting down based on what the load carrying is. So anyways, it's kind of neat. We're gonna go around back. They're doing some more back there, and we've got a couple other things I want to show you. Come on. Okay, so we're out back here, and they're just getting set up. So what they have to do is they have to square these up too. So you can't just put posts in a row, because you might not have them square, which means if you're trying to do a box, you have to have equal distances from each corner outside as well. Meaning you could have a box where it's the same on length, but the whole box is shifted, and that doesn't help very much. It has to be all lined up. So you can use what's called a 3-4-5, which means that you measure 3 and 4 inches, and then across should be 5 inches. Or you just do multiples of that, and that will give you a perfect right angle, 3-4-5. If you went to school like me, you would have forgot that. And you'd have to learn it all over again as an adult. So anyways, but I learned it a long time ago as a young adult. So 3-4-5. So now they're gonna set all of these flightings so that it is a square box off of the house. So they're down here measuring. You can see what they're doing right now, and we'll talk to them about it in a bit. We're out in Bearspaw today, and what we were here to do today was watch the guys put these up on the house over there. However, as you can see, welcome to southern Alberta in the springtime. We got ourselves 8 inches of snow, so they can't do it today. And if you go back to the last episode where we're doing some backfilling and some framing information, we'll link that above up here so you can see that video. And make sure you like and subscribe when you're over there. But now we got all this snow, and it was super cold this morning. It's a little warmer now, but it's still cold. So anyways, we can't do that filming today, but we're gonna go up, and I'm gonna talk to you more about the drainage system in the house and how important it is and what we do with it. Also, we got some electricians up there. They have managed to pull some wire through the muck and everything up there to get started putting that together. So come on, let's go over and have a look. Okay, so it's the winter wonderland up here right now. So Melco's here. They're putting the wire in from the house up to the front. That's the power line. So that all has to be figured out based on how far it is and what you're going to use in the house for voltage, all your amps. So they do all those calculations to make sure that we've got the right wire. Now we are limited a bit based on what the developer puts in and what we're connecting to. But anyways, so they've got that. This was the spool, because they had to run 263 feet of wire from the front of the house into here where the meter base is. So anyways, and as you can see, it's just beautiful, beautiful. Lots of great muck I'm going to be dealing with here next week. So anyways, come on in, let's go see what's going on. So let it snow, let it snow. So here inside the house, this is what we got to deal with. So this will all be scraped out tomorrow. But this is something that's really important for the difference between OSB and plywood. If you let all this melt on OSB, and let's say you have a bunch of rain, it will swell. Whereas plywood really doesn't swell, and certainly not in the same amount as you would with OSB. So anyways, those are the little things, but yeah, we've got like 8 inches of snow in here. And so it's a lot. Chester's already shoveled this out a few times. I think the homeowner came by and shoveled it out. But anyways, let's go downstairs and we'll talk about the drainage system around the house. All right, so now we're in the basement. You can see what goes on before we cover all this. This pipe here is for the RAVN, which I've talked to you before about. So basically, it's got some perforations in it. It's under the gravel and also the concrete. And it goes into the mechanical room over there. And that's just something that if you have radon in your house, we can vent it out. This is the drain for the sewer. So we connect everything to this, the toilets, all the sinks and everything, and it heads down here. All these pipes connected, and it goes down over here, and I'll show you where it goes out. Come on. So this all has to be put in at a specific slope. If it's too steep, things don't flow properly. If it's not steep enough, they don't flow properly either. So we get here, we've got a couple of cleanouts. This is the pipe that heads out, and that's going to head up to the septic tank. So that is the plumbing inside. Now, I had a few questions about the actual drainage and what weeping tile was and what it does. So weeping tile, we have it around the house, and the idea is that if you ever have some water getting down there, it gets into the weeping tile. And you can see we've got these holes here that come through the footing. So this is connected to the outside of the house, and it comes in here. So if you ever have a bunch of water getting into it, it's collected in the weeping tile, and I'll show you how that works. But first of all, I'll show you what it does. We bring the weeping tile through here, and this is a sump pit, and there will be a pump inside of there, and that collects all the water that might come in from the weeping tile on the outside of the house. And then we have a pump in there. As soon as it fills up, we pump that water outside of the house. So ideally, you make sure that you've sloped your house properly so that you don't have water coming into the right along your foundation wall and down into the weeping tile. So that's important. So all of this is designed, firstly, to get the water away from your house. You don't want it coming down your foundation walls. It's only if it does that you have to have something to make sure you get rid of it. So that's what that's for. Weeping tile is a system that basically has holes in it, and the water weeps inside of it. And it eventually, if it fills up enough, it'll run into this sump and get pumped out. So just a few more things, but make sure number one is have positive drainage away from your house. Firstly, that's the first layer of protection. Second layer of protection, should you ever have anything happen, we have something else so that you don't fill your basement up with water. So there you go. I hope that helps. Okay, so now talking about the layers of protection. So I left this trench open because we just got this pipe in for the septic. It's the white pipe. It's pretty hard to see because we got so much white here. But I'm going to go through the layers of protection. So let's say you have something happen where you have water against your foundation. This is the first layer, and that keeps it from penetrating the concrete. This tar line, and it's not tar anymore, it's Super Pro, but it prevents, it's your first seal of protection. this weeping tile here is actually, if we ever put a window well in here, we want to make sure that we have, if we ever have collection, it gets down to this weeping tile. This weeping tile goes around the entire house. And as I said, inside, it's covered in gravel, and if water gets down there, it seeps into, there's little slits all along here, and they're just a slit. And that just allows the water to weep inside of this tile, and then it'll carry it. And it carries it into that sump pit in there, which is where we pump it out. So it's covered in gravel. This will all be covered up because we're going to be heading out to the septic tank, which is your drainage for your sewer inside of your house. So there you go. Now you're experts. They're just starting to stand some. They started the other day, and then we got all this snow, and you'll be able to see it everywhere. So they're on the ends. They lay out all their trusses up on the top plates, and they snap lines so that they know, snap lines, chalk lines that is. I have to remember to be a little more explicit. So a chalk line is actually a string inside of a container that has chalk, and when you pull that string out, it gets the color of whatever the chalk is on it, and you stretch it out and you put it at the measurements you'd like, and when you pull it and snap it, it lays down the color so that you know where to put whatever it is, your wall, your truss, whatever it is. So there you go. Great information today. I keep forgetting about that maybe you don't do construction, so I'm trying to do that. And we'll be able for you to go back and look. We'll post up here the link to the last video so that if you want to go back and kind of follow through where we are, you'll be able to. And you'll be able to see the weather changes. So anyways, Chris is down here looking at the layout. The fellas are up top there. They're going to start standing more trusses. And as I talked about in the earlier part of this video, how we have our loads. And what that means is carrying loads down to the foundation wall, because that's ultimately what you're doing with everything inside of the house. The wall loads, the roof loads, anything gets carried down. So I want to show you something here in the framing that I haven't really talked about that much. But so this is a header, and you can see that the trusses are landing on that header, and what the header does is it transfers all of the load over to the sides and down onto the foundation walls. Obviously, if we didn't have that header up there, if we just had wood that didn't have some strength to it, that would start to sag because we're carrying the load of the roof just on a piece of whatever. We don't do it, but if somebody just had like some 2x4s up there, which I've seen. So those are 2x10s, loads down to the wall. So that's something that you're going to start to see as we get more of this put up, and I'll explain it a little more detail later, but everything is being carried down to that foundation. So somebody might look at this and say, well, what about these loads? Well, there is no load on here because the truss is designed to load on the ends, as I said in one of my previous videos. The truss, the bottom cord of the truss is designed to not have it pull apart really. So loads over there, and the interior walls, the load's not being carried down on. Okay, so I talked about the girder trusses. So I'm going to show you here what we've got. Right here we've got a 2-ply girder truss, and you can see those metal pieces. Those are actually our hangers because we have to turn the trusses from going on the outside walls. We're going to get our load there, and then we're going to cut across the roof over to this girder. And this one's a 3-ply, and so that'll all be nailed together. It'll have hangers as well. So now we're turning the direction of the trusses. So the trusses are running this way. In this middle section, they'll be running this way. And the load will be carried on this truss, and that truss carries it out to the outside walls, exactly as this one does. Just like the header, but instead of a header, it's a girder truss. There you go.